There is a strange kind of praise that feels good the moment you hear it, and becomes dangerous the moment you believe it. Most people think flattery is a gift, a compliment, a sign that someone sees their value. But what if the opposite is true? What if the person praising you is not giving you power, but quietly taking yours? François de la Rochefoucauld spent his life observing the hidden motives beneath human behavior. And one of the most uncomfortable truths about human nature is this: people rarely resist the words that confirm what they already want to believe. That is why intelligent people can be easier to control than foolish people. They do not fall for obvious lies. They fall for sophisticated truths about themselves. A leader can reject a threat and still surrender to admiration. A billionaire can ignore a critic and become addicted to one employee who constantly tells him how brilliant he is. A person can recognize manipulation everywhere, except when the manipulation arrives disguised as respect. But there is something even more dangerous. Flattery does not always make you feel superior. Sometimes it makes you feel understood. And that is when the trap becomes almost invisible. Today, we are going deeper than the usual warning to watch out for compliments. We are going to uncover why praise can distort judgment, why the smartest people sometimes crave it most, and why the person who learns to survive without admiration becomes extremely difficult to control. Because near the end, we will reach the real secret behind flattery. And once you see it, you may never hear a compliment the same way again. Number 1. The compliment is never just a compliment. Picture a modern executive walking into a meeting. 10 people sit around the table. 9 challenge his proposal. One person smiles and says, "This is exactly why you are the best strategist in the company." Which voice does he remember that evening? Probably the one that made him feel exceptional. This is where flattery becomes powerful. It does not need to invent a completely false reality. It only needs to select the part of reality your ego already wants emphasized. La Rochefoucauld understood that human beings are often less transparent to themselves than they imagine. We construct noble explanations for behavior that may have much simpler motives underneath. The compliment, therefore, works like a mirror with perfect lighting. It does not necessarily show you a fake face. It shows you the face you most want to see. Social media has turned this mechanism into an industry. Likes, followers, praise, comments, and algorithmic approval constantly provide tiny doses of confirmation. The danger is not that every compliment is manipulation. The danger is that your brain cannot always distinguish admiration from reinforcement. And once someone discovers what kind of praise makes you lower your defenses, they have discovered something much more valuable than your weakness: your appetite. Number 2. Everyone has a favorite version of themselves. Some people want to be seen as intelligent. Others want to be strong, independent, generous, sophisticated, rebellious, disciplined, or morally superior. The easiest person to influence is not necessarily the most insecure person. It may be the person desperately protecting a particular identity. Imagine a talented programmer who prides himself on being the smartest person in the room. A colleague does not need to threaten him. He simply says, "I knew you would understand this faster than everyone else." Suddenly, the programmer stops asking whether the project is correct and starts proving that he is the person who could not possibly misunderstand it. This is a subtle psychological shift. The conversation is no longer about information. It is about identity. The same thing happens in politics. The same thing happens in advertising. The same thing happens inside relationships. Instead of asking, "Is this true?" people begin asking, "Does this fit who I believe I am?" That question is much easier to manipulate. And there is a cruel paradox here. The stronger your attachment to an identity, the more carefully someone can steer you by praising it. But the next level is even more dangerous, because sometimes the compliment is not designed to make you believe something about yourself. It is designed to make you prove it. Number 3. Praise can become a hidden command. Consider the sentence, "You are not the kind of person who would quit." It sounds supportive, it sounds generous, but hidden inside it is a command. If you stop, You are no longer the person they just described. Suddenly, your decision has become a test of identity. This pattern appears everywhere. You are the only one I can trust. You always know what to do. You are stronger than everyone else. Each sentence sounds like admiration, but each can create pressure. Once the label is accepted, behavior begins protecting the label. A manager may give impossible deadlines to the employee who has been praised as unstoppable. A friend may repeatedly ask favors from the reliable one. A partner may exploit the person who takes pride in being endlessly understanding. Even artificial intelligence systems can be used to amplify this phenomenon. A user may keep prompting a system until it confirms the identity or worldview they prefer, creating an information environment where disagreement feels like an attack. The strange part is that control does not always require force. Sometimes it only requires giving someone a reputation they become afraid to betray. And once you understand that, another question appears. Why do intelligent people cooperate with the trap? Number 4. Intelligence does not protect the ego. Here's the uncomfortable part. Intelligence can sometimes make self-deception more sophisticated. A clever person has more tools for explaining why he is right. He can construct arguments, reinterpret evidence, and defend contradictions with impressive precision. The problem is not a lack of reasoning. The problem is reasoning serving an identity. Imagine a brilliant investor who receives praise every time he makes a bold decision. After several successful trades, his reputation becomes part of his self-image. Then the market changes. The evidence says he is wrong. But admitting it would mean more than losing money. It would mean confronting the possibility that the image of himself as an exceptional investor was partly built on luck. So he searches for another explanation. This is where flattery becomes dangerous. The praise from yesterday can become the prison of tomorrow. History is filled with leaders, surrounded by people who learned that disagreement was expensive and admiration was profitable. Eventually, the leader stops hearing reality. He hears a carefully edited version of himself. But there is a simple experiment that exposes the mechanism. And it reveals why even honest praise can become psychologically addictive. Number 5. The empty room experiment. Imagine 2 identical rooms. In the first room, every time you speak, someone agrees with you. Every idea is called brilliant. Every decision is praised. In the second room, people respect you but occasionally say, "I don't think that's correct." At first, which room feels better? The first. After a week, perhaps the first still feels better. After a month, something changes. You begin losing the ability to tell whether you are succeeding or merely being reassured. This is the hidden cost of constant affirmation. Feedback disappears beneath comfort. Now imagine the experiment reversed. You enter a room where nobody is impressed by you. Nobody insults you. Nobody worships you. They simply respond to reality. At first, your ego feels strangely invisible. Then something happens. Your decisions become cleaner. You no longer need every outcome to protect your image. That is the pattern interrupt. The strongest defense against flattery may not be suspicion. It may be becoming less dependent on the emotional reward that flattery provides. Because if praise cannot control your mood, it loses much of its leverage. But there is still one deeper layer. Why does praise feel so powerful in the first place?